What's going on, everybody? This is Spidey here, and yes, we're going to be doing another reaction video to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 for the gameplay footage that has just been released both at GDC and the PlayStation Developer Walkthrough, and oh boy, do I have quite a bit to say. Now, originally when I first made this reaction video, I was both on camera and very criticized for doing so. I was very criticized for stating my opinions on the game from the footage that we have seen. A lot of you said that I was making too many preconceived notions, that we didn't see enough footage for the game to accurately portray my thoughts on it, and I was being way too nitpicky, overblowing things, the works. Half of you said that, half of you agreed with me. Now that we have actual gameplay footage, and we can pretty much come to terms on what it is we all think about this game, I feel like it's the necessary time to put my thoughts on it. So let's get into it. And where do we stand? That's the question. Where do we stand after this gameplay footage has hit the net, and we now see what The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is going to be giving us in a little bit less than a month. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Is it still a carbon cookie cutout copy of The Amazing Spider-Man 1? Do I still believe that it is still a uninteresting, dull, boring game? Yes. Yes, I do. I still stand by what I said. Nothing about this game has given me any type of impression that it has any type of care, polish, or even an original thought put into it, because the game performs exactly like The Amazing Spider-Man 1. It still looks like it. The city has gotten a major facelift, and I will give props to Beenox for this. The city has gone through some major facelifts, and the graphics, admittedly, from the footage that we've seen before, do look at least a little better. But the problem with this game is that it still has massive texture pop in that isn't even like, it's not like you're 4 blocks away and you're noticing it. It's literally on the block that you are as you are approaching it. Has trees popping in, windows popping in, lights popping in. It's ugly. And keep in mind, this is PS4 footage, a system that is way more capable of doing what these guys are apparently pushing on this console. And it looks like a muddled down PS3 game, if at that. And everybody's like, well, you know, it's a multi-platform game. It's coming out on the PS3, the Xbox 360, PC, PS4, Xbox One. There's no way, you know? And that is a BS excuse, because there's also another game that is coming out on pretty much every major platform that is available at this current time, and it's called Metal Gear Solid. And that game performs twice as better than this game looks. And that game was a demo. That game isn't even close to being done, which means that they still they still can go back and work on this game and make it look 20 times better than it looks now. And Metal Gear Solid Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes wasn't muddled by pop-in issues and all these ugly-ass graphics. And again, I'm not going to say the graphics make the game, but it brings a certain level of polish. It shows that you at least care for the character and care for the franchise, that you're going to actually invest time in cleaning things up. And when you see a developer not take care of their game like that, what type of impression does that set to the gamer when a developer doesn't even care to make the game look visually appealing? Sometimes you have problems with, system limitations, but this is not the case. And it's a shame that Konami, a company that doesn't make nearly the amount of bank that Activision does with their yearly economy shooter, that Konami can put out a game consistently, okay? They've been doing it for I don't know how many years, that is visually appealing every single time. And Activision, which makes like about 150 million on the yearly from just one game, cannot even put a fraction, a sliver of that amount into a game and make it look at least visually appealing. So that's my little tidbit on the graphics. Other than that, this game is nothing more than a plagiarized poor man's Arkham. It is. And if you don't agree with that, or if you don't see that, you are lying to yourself and you are in denial. Everything from the way the combat works in this game now to the way the enemies are designed is pretty much ripped straight from Arkham. Not an ounce of originality went into this game. It's plagiarized verbatim, okay? Enemy types. We have 2 new enemy types that have been confirmed. They're the speeders and the brutes. The brutes are stunned with your webbing. The seismic webbing, that is probably confirming that, spoiler alert, Shocker is a villain in the game. Whoop-de-doo, we get Shocker again. And the speeders, which are female ninjas, which, believe it or not, are plagiarized verbatim from the Arkham series. They're really quick, they have martial arts, they're ninjas, they have a sword, you have to slow them down with your webbing in order to incapacitate them, which is pretty much what you do in Arkham. You slow down enemies with your gadgets, and then you knock them out. It's as if the guys over at Beenox said that our game is shit, so how do we make it better? And one genius decided to say, hey, let's play Arkham. Those games are 10 times better than our games. Yeah. And they all sat down for about 2 hours, played the Arkham games, and say, how could we put a Spidey spin on this? I'm all for developers taking things that worked in other games and implementing it into their own game, putting their own style into it. But when you are literally not putting an ounce of originality into your own game and copying things from a game that does it better, what you are doing is setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for the obvious and just tedious comparison game where people are going to say, hey, this game plays almost like Arkham, except Arkham does it better. So by extension, you make your game shit from the get-go. You make it a comparison game, an unwinnable comparison game, to a game that has twice as much as polish, twice as much care and attention to detail than yours does. So what you are doing is alienating your fans. Because nobody wants to play an Arkham game when they're playing Spider-Man. They want to play as Spider-Man. And you have the creative license to do what you can do with this character, which, trust me, there's lots of things that you can do with this character. And instead of opting for the originality route, what you go down through is the lazy, rehashed road, the recycled road. And you copy and paste other elements from other games and try to implement it into yours as if it were new, and it's not going to work. It will never work. It hasn't worked before. It's not going to work ever. Because people can see through that. People know through that. People who play this game, what are they? Comic book enthusiasts. Which means they've probably already played the Batman games, because those games are on a pedestal of what you can do. They are the pinnacle now for what you can do in a comic book-based video game. Well, this is a movie tie-in video game, so it didn't count, right? No, it's still a comic book video game. Because it's Spider-Man. No matter how you want to see it, even if you want to slap that movie tie-in title into it, it's still a comic book video game at its core. So yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is, without a doubt, one of the most boring games I've ever seen come out for the Spider-Man license. It's also one of the most visually unappealing, given the technological advancements we've seen in consoles and in technology. This game looks like it could run on an iPhone, and it doesn't surprise me, because everything that Activision has been producing lately looks like ass. Muddled ass. So, those are my opinions on the matter. This game is just boring. It's boring. It should be called The Amazingly Dull Spider-Man, because everything about this game is just meh. I will give them this, though. The city does look better. But with the pop-in in the city, what does it matter? If your city cannot hold up without you going through a single block without a tree popping up in front of your face, what does it even matter? This is the PS4, by the way. Like I mentioned before, it's the PS4, which means it's technologically capable of having those damn trees be there, even if you're like 4 miles away. But instead, for some strange reason or another, no polish is going into this game. And it's funny, too, because I wanted to mention something really quick. The developer in the GDC interview mentioned that Spider-Man in linear-based levels is boring. There's nothing to be had there, you know? It's been done before, and it's boring. Yet, the developer walkthrough has Spider-Man going through what seems to be like a linear-based level. It's another confined grid space. And if you think it's not, then look around the environment. Where do you see city? Where do you see the city? It's off in the distance, which means that the open world city, as if you want to call it, is nothing more than what it was in The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Just a hub world where you can go from mission to mission, and those missions are in confined, grid-like spaces, which have you going from point A to point B. So, what do we have here? Is this an open world Spider-Man game, or is it a linear-based Spider-Man game? What it is The Amazing Spider-Man 1, a supposed open world Spider-Man game that takes place in linear-based levels. The city is just a hub world. It's just something for you to do.
To show you these features, let's hop on the train.
I don't even want to go into anything else. I'm pretty sure what I'm saying is resonating with some of you, and if you guys don't see it, then you guys are delusional, but this game is nothing more than a poor man's Arkham with a Spider-Man face job, with a Spider-Man paint job. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't say get this game. I wouldn't say it. I'd say wait for it to be on sale, or get it used so that Activision doesn't get the money for this game. If you so want your Spidey fix, because this game, it doesn't deserve the money. It doesn't. I don't think so. With the way these games are being shelled out and the amount of unoriginality that is being put into this game, no way. Oh, and a funny thing too is the Peter Parker in this game looks absolutely nothing like Andrew Garfield. So as much as they want to license the game, they can't even license the apparel of the actors. He looks like just generic, random Hollister model. So that's cool. Good going, guys. Yep, round of applause. Anyways, this is Spidey. I'm out. I'm done with my nitpicking. And I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.